Doo-doo-doo. There's music. Okay. Oh, I gotta watch the multi-stream chat. And, yeah. Okay. Hello. Welcome to this. What am I doing right now? Oh, right. I wanted to. Oh, actually, no. I'm gonna change that. It's fine. Was it here? I'm gonna change the way the chat box works. I don't know if I. Video settings. I don't know what that means. Anyway, I don't know. So today I don't have a ton of time, and so I just want to see if I can like get some actual meaningful work done to do something that I've been meaning to do for a while. So I guess yeah, right. Okay. So task on hand, because I'm trying to make. Okay, first of all, let's switch the get branch to main. Doodle-doo. Doodle-doo. I don't know if you can read that. Probably can't. That's fine. I realized last time that I was streaming, I was streaming that at 720p, so like nothing would have been visible. But I don't know if this is gonna be all that much better, but we'll see. That's a group. Okay, we're on main. And let's make a new branch. New branch from origin main. Call it John / convert to CSV. Because that's in fact what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to build something into the GUI that it currently does what it does in the pre-alpha, where it saves everything as a giant NumPy array, which is convenient in some ways, but like hard to work with. It's hard to work with if you know how it's set up, and it's like damn near inscrutable for anybody else. So, doo-doo-doo-doo. First of all, actually, let me make sure I can actually be heard. That is not a guarantee. Hello, hello? Hello, hello? Yeah, that should be fine. Hello, hello? Hello, hello? Hello? Is that alright? Probably fine. It's annoying though that this should be up higher. There we go. Okay. Music by Neon X Death. I could probably put that up there, but I don't know how. Or I do, but I don't have time for it. Okay, we are focused. We are committed. We are doing things. What are we doing? We are... Let's make a list of things. Wait, what are we doing? Hello. Hello, Tim here. Timmer? Yeah, I'm trying to get some, like, stuff done. And so I figured I might as well do it live. But now I'm also struggling to, like, figure out what I want to do. Let's take notes. Obsidian. Not that one. Let's take that's class notes. Do I have something for Obsidian here? Maybe. Yeah. All right. No, okay. We gotta focus because I don't have a ton of time. So I think if I just work fast, then I can get more things done. Yeah, we'll just get that working. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to convert. Because there's this IPython notebook that kind of has lived on the server or on the repo for a second that takes in like the standard data that the standard NumPy array, and chops it up into one file for the body, one for the right, one for the right hand, one for the left hand, and then one for the face data. And then it converts those into CSVs, like Pandas data frame CSVs, and saves those out as well. So it's just generally much easier to work with data. And I wrote that in a hurry in the form of this like big Jupyter notebook, and I want to convert this into something resembling viable code that gets run from the GUI. So in service of that, I will, first thing I'll do is I will run the GUI, because, is that right? Oh, because also I added a bunch of stuff that is worth showing off. And where are we? We're on the right branch. We're on the right branch. You're not running. Where aren't you running? Stop. Oh yeah. Apparently I had to think today. How you doing, Temir? Temir? How do we pronounce that? Oh yeah, there we go. I really want to figure out how to put the logo on here in various ways, and like I definitely want this to be the little icon, but I don't know. I've like poked at that a little bit and I couldn't get it working, so I gave up in service of other things, which is fine. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is this. So this button that we added, the import synchronized videos, is a very convenient button. If I hit Control I, I have to select this first, Control I. It does that. Makes a session ID. Let's call this, I don't know, on Twitch. So this will create a new session folder, and then I can select a folder that contains synchronized videos. Timur. There you go. Devowelization of a non-English word. There you go. Kind of feels, yeah. Anyway, so select a folder containing misspelled synchronized videos, and it will load them in and create a session folder around them. So I'm pulling data from a session that I recorded in the pre-alpha. It doesn't show the items in the folder for some reason. That's probably just some setting I can fix, but this folder has the videos in it, and so I'm selecting that folder, and then it will copy them in, and now here they are. And then I will go down here to capture volume, calibrate capture volume, which I added a bunch of options for. Use most recent calibration is a classic. Calibrate from the videos, not implemented yet, but it would work. And then load camera calibration is what I want to do. So I'm going to click this. I'm going to go back to that same folder because, again, that was already processed with the pre-alpha. Select that, and now this is the calibration data that it will use to process the data later. Oh, is it? It will be scaled incorrectly because I realized Actually, I guess I can fix that real quick. Part of the point of the live coding thing is to sort of show my workflow. So that should be interesting in its own right. Yeah, so let's see. So what am I trying to do now? I'm trying to make it so that selecting load camera calibration does not disable the Charuko parameters, because that's not the right way to do it. So that would be in I guess I can just do this. So close that, hit shift. Oh, I should remember what it said. Actually, I do know where it is already, so I can just go straight to it. So in the main repo source, that was in the GUI, that was in main window, left panel, toolbox, calibrate capture volume, and that is the thing. It's okay. Let me actually look at this. A new session. No, don't do that. Control R to reset the GUI. Control D to load the most recent session, which is the one I was just in. And then I want to trying to give myself, oh right, I'm trying to figure out what I'm actually trying to do here, which is change the behavior of the load camera calibration. Oh wait, is that what I want to do? No, yeah, because this calibration is completed, so I can't actually change the, wait, is that true? Can I? I cannot. Okay, yeah, so it was actually, it's correct to disable it, because if I'm loading a camera calibration, then the Truco square size just is what it is. So, because it won't take that into account. So, calibrate for synchronized videos, record new calibration videos, which I cannot do either. I could also import calibration videos and reprocess them, but one thing at a time. I haven't heard the blidip for the Discord pings, which is surprising to me, but that's okay. What was I doing? Okay, so I am gonna load this. What am I trying to do? Oh, right, I'm trying to. So I imported these videos from a previous recording, from like external recording, which is a new functionality. And I am now going to select that camera calibration toml, which will be the one that gets used. I cannot change the parameters, so I think it was scaled incorrectly because I think I did forget to put the Truco square size in, but that doesn't matter for what we're doing right now. And I wanted to process it so that I have data on hand to chop up, which is in fact the task of the day. So go ahead and process all, which is still doesn't give you any feedback that it's happening, but it's happening in the background. You can see here. And then what I'm going to do, oh God, am I going to, I think I'm going to do this. This is not going to be a finished branch on this stream, just given the time I have left, but I think I can get it to a state of functionality. So at least I have the ability to have it do what I want it to do, and then I can come in and clean it up later. So because the first thing I'm going to do is come on into, I'm just going to convert this IPython notebook into a Py file, and then turn it into functions, and call that good for the time being. So now, and I don't know if you can do that in PyCharm, but I know you can do that in VS Code. So open recent, probably that's the D drive. There's only, have I not opened it? I probably haven't opened this in VS Code in a while. Open folder, D drive, Dropbox. I'm not going to show you all my stuff. Da-da-da. And free mocap, and that's free mocap. Open that. I trust myself, thank you. And now I'm going to open up this IPython thing, hit F1 and say Jupyter convert to Python script. Let's call that .py. Doop 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 boo. Yes, I know. Oh, this one. There we go. And then it just converts it into a .py file. So it basically just like takes what was in the Jupyter and converts it. I am confused because it doesn't seem to have. Meeseeks does not appear to have updated stream cord. Is that? That's okay. Whatever thing I have to ping the Discord server when I start streaming did not proc. Which honestly, I don't have time to deal with right now, so I'm not going to bother. Okay, and now this file, where am I going to save that to? I'm going to save that to source, probably core processes, post-process, media pipe, it is media pipe specific, so load that default detector. Yeah, let's make a new file and call it convert media pipe npy2 csv.py, and then I guess I'll just control all, control C, control V, control save. And now I'm done with VS Code. I come back here into PyCharm, and we're still processing, which is fine. This is interesting because it's like, okay. The fact that this is now telling me what percentage of people who come here find me through the Discord pings, because if they didn't happen and they're not here, then now I know. Because I actually don't really have a good sense of where people come from, or even who shows up. Because I'm usually working on stuff. Okay, so I guess I can turn this into one giant function, which is this is a kind of a bad case study for like what is ostensibly my first live coding session in a while, because I am not going to code in the style that I prefer. I'm going to code in a kind of like slapdashy way just to get something up and running, but that's okay. That's life. That's, you know, we're just winging it here. Okay. Get the name. What's your name? Copy. Let's get the name, file name. Thank you. All right, and yeah, like for example, like this is going to be like a much bigger function than I prefer. I prefer things to be more chopped up. It's going to be doing, it is not going to be single responsibility. It's going to be doing a lot of things at the same time. Or like it's going to be doing a lot of stuff in like a single function, which I don't like. It's going to be all one. It's going to be, it's not that long, but we'll make it work. Okay. So let's call this def that. And that is in fact what I want. Thank you, GitHub media pipe 3D NPY path is that, and save data path is going to be a union of strings and paths. Nope. Dot string comma path. And now bump it over. Yeah, again, there's gonna be a lot of stuff in here that it's fine. It's fine. This is all on a branch. I can clean it up before I get it over. Hey, Philippe. How you doing? Philippe? Good to see you. Hello. What am I doing? Ah, yes. Logger. There we go. Yeah, this is really funny. I feel like I should be like constantly apologizing for the code that I'm writing, but it'll do. This is like a model of software development that I'm just starting to play with, where someone, in this case me, but oftentimes like a student, can like write code in a Python notebook, which is a good way for students to write code. Tetris Labs in Java. Ah, that's... Oh, my friend John Lindstedt, JKL on the Discord server, actually wrote his dissertation on expertise in Tetris. Okay, cool. So it is... no matter what. The video is finished posting, and it's finished processing, and it just opened in Blender, which I'll pull over in a second once it stops freaking out. Yeah, there you go. Look, there I am. Hello. I recorded this in one of my classes. Well, I'm only teaching one class, and I recorded this in that class. And it's like a way to, but it's both just kind of to represent like the data. Oop. Oh yeah, well, I turned you off. Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out like a good module / lesson plan that uses free mocap. Both to give like examples of like, you know, how code works, how software works, how like 3D kinematic analysis works. And so this is me like in like the corner of my class, like set up 3 webcams and recorded myself doing stuff. And oh, are you on yeah, oh, you're on YouTube. Yeah, I can see the little thing. Makes sense. I just figured out how to do the YouTube Twitch multi-stream thing. But this is the data I'm going to try to chop up with these sloppy methods here. And I really would like to be done relatively quickly. Oh, hello. Ghetto Jesus is Philippe Ekstrom, I believe. That is the... You've just outed yourself, sir. Friend, I don't know who you are. Okay, so convert these print statements to logs. Logger.info. It's gonna be a lot of logs, but I'm actually yeah, that's good. You're comfortable with a little bit of friendly doxing. I'm gonna leave all these logs because I might as well log everything. Although a lot of these are going to be debug, I think. Let's call that. Yeah. I'll call all these debugs. Because a lot of this was written kind of from the perspective of like, I'm doing this for the first time. And I might as well change you too, sure. And I was like, just wanted to make sure that like I was getting all the data. So I was like checking like, how long is this thing? Like, did I miss any dots? Is it supposed to be 438? Is it 438? Things like that. So it's way more prints that you would really want. But maybe I'll clean it up. Maybe I won't. Who knows? V. Haha. Now they're all logs. And I don't know who you are. Don't need you. Printing out nowhere. This feels so wrong. Just like, hey guys, here's how I write my code, but but not really. Don't code like this. It's bad. It's not that bad, but it's not great. Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, it's again like it's a mega script. It's a function that does too many things. Like I should be pulling these from another definitions file. Media pipe default settings. Yeah, like a lot of the stuff should be broken up. I guess I can at least do this. Media pipe. And at least that way the... Oh, wait. I mean... Oh, yeah. What was your question? I can't recall. What was the question? You can copy paste it here if you want. Media pipe. And I will do my best to answer it. Oh, I guess I could do that too. I got you there. Da-da-da. Oh, where'd you go? Oh, it did pop. Oh, thanks, Timmer. Appreciate that. Timmer's doing the job of that the bots are supposed to do. Timmer, you're taking robot jobs away from them by doing that work for them. So you're anti-automating. I don't. It's. Philippe, could you just like, copy the post if you wouldn't mind, because like the link is giving me weirdness. Yeah, I think you probably like asked the question, like right as I was getting off stream. Sorry for English. Glitches out. Oh yeah, right. I remember seeing that and thinking like, ah yes, I should give that an answer, and then I didn't. Is in a different position than actually is. Does the program have a ability checker built in to see if the position is below a certain confidence threshold? Yep. Yep. That is in fact a good question, and so the answer is that so MediaPipe, which is the current software we're using for the tracking, not going to be the one we use forever, but it is one we're using for now, does provide a confidence threshold. All these sort of neural network, OpenPose, Deep Lab Cut, whatever you want, they're always going to give you a confidence value. The problem is that one of these sort of like forever problems of, wait, what's your problem? MediaPose, why don't you? Okay, you know what? I'm not going to try to be fancy. I'll clean this up later. So the problem with neural networks is that they do not know when they are wrong. They give you very good answers when you train them right, but they will happily give you a bonkers wrong answer and assign it a very high probability value. So we do use we do use that confidence values. So I'm going to answer your question in a couple parts. So the first is what we currently do, and the answer is yeah. Thanks for the rest of it. I remember the question enough to start answering. So the answer to your question is going to come in two parts. One is what we're currently doing and why it's inadequate, and two is what we should be doing and will be doing in the future, which is closer to what I think you are suggesting. I also realize that the text that's coming up is not like the chats are showing up in the thing, but they're like fully illegible. So like these are words, and then that's Skelly, and you can see Skelly but not the words. We'll do it later. Yeah, so we do currently use the MediaPipe confidence values to threshold basically, and say like, oh yeah, if it's below a certain confidence value, don't use it in the reconstruction. The problem is that MediaPipe being a neural network based estimator, the confidence values that it gives you are not reliable. It will very happily say like, ah yes, I have a very high confidence that your arm is here, and it's not there. And so using just that confidence value to threshold out the data doesn't work, because you can't trust those numbers. So that's what we're currently doing, and it does clean up the data a little bit, but you still get the kind of glitches that you're referencing there. A better solution, and one that we will implement eventually, will use this data, which I don't know if you can read that, but it's called it says reprojection error, and what that is after the 2D skeleton tracking has happened and you've done the 3D reconstruction, you can calculate what's called, it's a very common thing in motion capture, is a value called the reprojection error, where if you have you've got a two-dimensional estimate of something, you've got a little marker, and you've got the pixel coordinates, and then you've got multiple views, and you reconstruct that point in 3D, if you want to see how good your track is, you can then reproject that point back onto the image and see how close it is to the original two-dimensional estimate. So you get the reprojection error. And that is not a neural network derived value, it's a geometric value. So using that, if you had 4 cameras and MediaPipe thinks, oh yes, these are all good measures of where your arm is, and so they pass that threshold, but then you reconstruct it and 3 of the cameras have very good reprojection error and 1 of the cameras has bad reprojection error because it's like, oh, I think your arm's up here, but the other 3 cameras say it's down there. Then you can go back and say, oh, that camera had a bad estimate, so remove that one and then reconstruct it again. That's obviously going to be much more computationally expensive because you basically have to do that reconstruction like more than once, because you have to reconstruct it, see if it's bad, and then reconstruct it again. So it would take longer. So you might not want to do that in like a real-time setting. But it would probably, it almost certainly would result in better and cleaner data using a kind of mechanism similar to the one that you're describing. And so that's so that's why I didn't answer your question in the server, because I was tired and I was like, that's a complicated answer. So I'm glad that you reminded me, because that is like, how do you know when you have a bad estimate is like one of the big questions. And the answer is that we currently have like an easy to implement but not particularly satisfactory method using the confidence values, which is a weak method due to just an inherent weakness in neural network based estimates. And it does an okay job, but it's not perfect. And then there's the option in sort of, actually it's right here, you can see this MediaPipe 2D confidence cutoff is set to 0.7. So anything where the confidence is less than 0.7, you can remove. And you could also bump this up to like 0.9 if you wanted it to remove more data. So that's the easy solution. But there's like this possibility of using the more involved reprojection error based method. And it's just like, it's like on the list. It would be good, but we haven't gotten there yet. So, good question. And the answer, like most of my answers these days are, we'll get that later. Oh, your second thought. Let's see. And if the other, okay. Yeah. So your other question is sort of, I guess, yeah. So do you mean like the parts like, if the camera believes an arm's position deviates too much from the average arm position of the other cameras, you can discard the input of that camera that deviated? Yeah, it's kind of similar to the thing I said with the reprojection error, where you look at some measure of error from all cameras and you say, yes, these ones agree, this one doesn't, so we're going to neglect that one. So I was describing that in the context of reprojection error. You were describing that, I think, probably more in like a kinematic space, so like the joint angles are noticeably different. That would also work. I've thought about that too. So you kind of have 3 possible methods, right? You got like the boneheaded version where you just use the confidence value that MediaPipe gives you. Easy to implement, but not reliable. The reprojection error, which is using just like the raw geometric reconstruction of like the joint centers. And then what you might call like a kinematic estimate that's using sort of like knowledge. Kinematics is like the movement of the body. And so you can use estimates based off of that, all of which would give you the ability to sort of say, to make estimates of like, is this data good or not? Like we have 4 cameras and these 3 agree and this one is off, so let's neglect that one. These are all good ideas, and just put it on the list. Does that answer your question somewhat? Long story short, your idea probably would work. It would just need to be implemented, and therein lies the challenge. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the question. Thanks for the question and the interest. Okay, so I have this embarrassingly unencapsulated. Who said that actually? Temer said encapsulation is overrated, and you know, the important thing about rules are great because, and it's important to know the rules so that when you break them, you do it on purpose. And in this case, I am writing code that is not the way it should be on purpose because I'm just trying to get the. I just want it to save out these data files, and this will probably do that, and then I can come back through and clean it up, and do that later. But I do feel a little bad because I'm like, I'm going to do the sloppy part on stream and the other part not on stream. That's okay. Okay, so this function now exists. Oh, it takes in... Is that what it wants to be? Yeah, okay. We can do that for now. It's just going to dump all the data into the same folder, and that's it's easier, so I'm just going to do that. Expected 2 blank lines, only found 1. Fine. Okay, so now I need to put this in here somewhere. And it would go between, first of all, this button probably shouldn't be here anymore. Yeah, so the button to chop up the data would probably want to go probably where this one is right now. So I can probably just change that one around. I don't think it's doing anything right now. I think it's just vestigial. So let's do that. Calibrate capture volume panel, convert media pipe. I don't need that. Process session data panel. That's the one I want. And the one that says to do is the one that we're going to we're gonna overwrite it, and we're gonna call it, instead of visualize free mocap, we're gonna call that I don't know what we're gonna call it. Let's call it convert data to CSV. I could do that. Let's just make it part of the base behavior of triangulate, just like when it saves out one thing. Do I want to do that? I kind of want to do that. Do I want to do that? I can make it a checkbox. I don't think it wants to be its own button. I think it does want to be like an optional. I think it wants to be an option for like the standard triangulation function. So I just removed that visualize button because I actually have that's down here now. So I'm going to stop this and then relaunch it, and Control D, and there's that, and now it's gone. So I think what I'm going to do, instead of adding a new like button, I'm going to add a checkbox down here that's going to be called convert data to CSV or something like that. Which is, again, I don't love it as from like a UX perspective, but the focus of the thinking behind the alpha is not about making a clean and polished, slick and sexy product. It's about getting all the functionality that needs to exist extant. Again, kind of mostly focused on like my own, like my needs as a researcher, the community's general needs, just kind of like, again, like figuring out like the core functionality that we're trying to go for, and then at a certain point that will stabilize. We'll sort of be like, yes, this is the core tool, And then we can start iterating and smoothing things out. And once that starts to stabilize, that's probably when we'll switch to like beta. And then that will presumably be like a more clean and polished and stabilized version that we can then start moving that one towards like the full release. Free mocap 1.0 in 2029. Okay, focus. So self dot, we want to have it right below the confidence value. So we're going to call that self dot convert NPY to CSV checkbox. Sure. 3D and data NPY data to CSV. Sure. We're gonna self dot convert that dot set checked as true and add it to the thing. And C, we're gonna make a property for it. Triangulate. Yeah. There you go. Property. Def. Because you gotta make it a property so you can access it from the outside. Because that's the rules. That's okay. So now we have a checkbox. Let's just confirm that we've added a checkbox to the GUI. We're here in the process data session data pad. Do we have a new AI breakthrough? Oh, the video thing? That is, yeah. Like it's like AI breakthroughs, you know, it's just kind of like they come and they go. It's just kind of like it's like at this point it's like, oh, which impossible thing did we do today? Oh, that one? Cool. Cool. Is that what you're talking about? The text to video thing? Because that is pretty. Yeah, that's one of the, it's like that's one of those things where it is mind blowing and amazing and beautiful and yada yada blah blah blah. But like at this point, it like doesn't surprise me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like, oh yeah, that is the kind of it's the kind of thing that's like within the domain of what I expect these things to do. You know, it's kind of like, it's interesting because like, you know, there's really not like from this perspective of like free mocap's perspective, there was a while like, you know, it's like, oh no, it's like AI gonna come and take my job. Yeah, stable diffusion. That's a guy. That's the whole. That's a wild ride. It's been a wild ride since when stable diffusion has started coming out. Like it's been a pretty wild ride. I use Midjourney, the Discord server, super cool. That works. So we have that checkbox now. It doesn't do anything, but it's a checkbox. But yeah, like on free mocap side, it's like, it's funny because like a lot of this project software, whatever you call it, tool, is just a tremendous amount of work to basically take, the AI breakthrough of like whatever a couple of years ago, 2017 OpenPose markerless mocap 2D tracking, and trying to convert it into something that's like an actually usable tool for like scientists or animators or things like that, which is a lot of work because like, like I was saying earlier, like AI, machine learning neural networks, like they're not made for that. And the people who are making them, they're not like the stable diffusion people are now building working tools with it. But like often they're just like, they're doing these things just to show that they can. And the question of like, what can you do with it? What, like, can you actually make it something reliable? It's like usually not within like the interest space of people who are, people who are actually doing the work. Because like yeah. It's like this thing is like this like multi-camera, you know, old school geometric calibration, reprojection, yada yada. You know, like it's a reason people have asked, and it's a reasonable question. Like, what are you gonna do when these things start estimating 3D from 2D? And the answer is, I'd still want to put that through a multi-camera view because it'll be more reliable. Yeah, yeah, Studio Galt. Yeah, just the yeah, it's like, you know, no matter how good like the magic box part of this system works, it's, you know, my scientist's heart will still not trust it and want it to be sort of calibrated and validated and yada yada yada, in order so that I can trust that the measurement that it's taking is actually a reliable measurement. And that's a whole different ball game. That's not a machine learning question. Like you can't like neural network your way into a reliable answer, because neural networks do not produce reliable estimates. That's not their job. They are literally designed to provide answers that look correct, that sort of match. What am I saying? Yeah, they're trained data, right? So, anyways. To turn them into actually like viable, like empirically valid, or epistemologically reliable tools is a very different thing. Yeah. It's Temir. Yeah, that's real life. They're trained on the data they're given, and they're universal statistics solvers designed to map inputs to outputs. And how does it know when it's got it right? Well, because you told it what the right answer is. And so it is creating large-scale statistical models that will take an input and give it something that you have told it you're looking for. So they're super dependent, and so like, you know, even with all the massive advances, they still have the same weaknesses, like transfer, like, you know, catastrophic forgetting and difficulties in transfer and things like that. And also, they're trained by data produced by a racist, white supremacist society. So guess what biases are baked into these things? So like, yeah, you know, So Timur, I'm not surprised. Like Google does, like MediaPipe does the Google thing, and they have like a whole thing about like how they tried to make sure that it's not, you know, that it's going to be reliable on skin that doesn't look like this. But like, you know, a lot of these things are just complicated. Okay. Okay, so now I have. Okay, so the launch triangulate 3D thread worker is the worker that does all of the 3D triangulation. So that's where that initial NumPy array is produced. So I want to give it a Boolean, and I added the checkbox where the user can specify whether or not they want to convert the 3D data to CSV. I'm tempted to just make this a default behavior, and I might in the future. But I'm not going to now because I'm being sloppy with that code. So I want to have the ability to turn it off. And again, just I'll clean this up on this branch, the convert to CSV branch, before I merge it in the main. But maybe I won't. We'll see. Okay, so there's a little checkbox. This will produce a Boolean, true or false, depending on whether or not it's checked. So here in this place where I'm launching the thread worker, I'm just going to feed it that. Oh, actually, I do the same thing here. So I get the MediaPipe confidence cutoff threshold is the number that you pull from self control panel, process session data panel, media confidence cutoff threshold, which is this number right here. So there's already a pattern, a precedent for the type of thing I'm about to do next, which is to add a new little guy called convert. This little green data. This is also a neural network. That's a GitHub Copilot making suggestions for me, trained on a bunch of This one has some ethical issues there, are complicated, because this is trained on public code, but they're selling it. I get a free copy. I get free access because I'm like educational, whatever. But like, it's fucked up. Like, it's fucked up that they're selling back a statistical model trained by open source code. But I'm not gonna not use it because it helps me code faster. So you don't get extra tools. Man, this whole fucking project is based on how much I hate like ivory tower paywalls. Like, I'm literally making this free software instead of publishing papers because I don't want to contribute to that system. Also complicated world. Okay. Focus. Convert to C. Let's see. Save data as CSV. That is not the right answer, but it's not bad. Yes. Oop. It's not the right answer. Panel dot. Right. Process. No. It's this one. Panel dot. Is that right? That can't be right. No, it's not that. What did I call it? Studio Golf. Do you know about Sci-Hub? Which is a way to steal publications from people. That's right. I always encourage people to use that because that will get you around a lot of paywalls for like papers and publications and stuff like that. That is checked. Okay, so now this I've now added a keyword argument that's going to take a boolean. It's not happy with it because it doesn't. It's like there's no keyword arguments. Like, I know I'll put that later, and it's going to take as an input the boolean of whether or not that checkbox is checked. So now I need to give that boolean somewhere to go. So I'm going to hit that. I'm going to go here. I'm going to hit Control B. I'm going to go in here. Boolean equals true. Sure. Should I give it? I'm not going to make it optional until there's a reason to make it optional. Because like I was giving it default values, but like I can make those defaults later. But I think you want to make your code as grumpy as possible. And don't like give it permission to be something other than you decided it should be until there's a reason to do it. Because every little bit of like slop and wiggle is a place for bugs to creep in. Doink. So now I'm just hit Control B to follow that thread in. Once again, taking away the optional component of that and putting that in there, and GitHub Copilot correctly did that. Any post calibration 2D data is 2D data which you read in. Oh, this is now a thread worker. And see, I bet GitHub. Yep, GitHub Copilot knew that off the cuff. Triangulate 3D data. Don't I send it into there? It does. Output data folder path cutoff threshold. Yes, I'm gonna send it down into that one too. This starts feeling like adding functionality into like like, should I be saving data from the triangulate 3D data function, or is that like a violation of like single responsibility? These are the questions. They are stylistic questions. I don't know the answer, but I'm already doing it, so I might as well continue to do it. Keep, if not, even if I shouldn't be saving the data here, I should do all of my saving in the same place. Once again, make you non-optional. This is probably gonna break everything. There you go. There you go. Save there. So now in here, there's the 2D data, flat. Here's a bunch of nonsense. 3D data, flat, reprojection error. Pass to 3D NPY. Here's the data that I'm trying to chop up. Save that there. Return there. Ah, you already have that. Okay. And now here, I'm going to say if that, then that's a bold prediction, GitHub Copilot. It is not correct, but I appreciate the effort. Okay. Save that. If that, oh no, I have to do it after I've already saved it. I did already save it. I guess I don't need to be sending it the path then. Oh, I do need the path. Because that's how I know how to save it, which again, it feels a little sloppy, but I am over it. Okay, now I'm going to hit here and hit Alt Enter, import this good friendo, and that might be it. That might be it. Let's find out as a group. Save, stop, play. So again, to reiterate, what I have done is is it the one I want? This output data is here. Yeah, okay. So what I have done, this is just some older thing. Oh, this is the one. This is us. You got that. Here's my these videos that are not properly anything. I didn't even convert that to. I am blue because I didn't convert the RGB or BGR to RGB. And where's the data? Oh, there's the data. Hello. Proofs of concept. They stress me out. Because it's like, yes, that's very close to right. But, and I don't have a method to turn this off, so I just have to reset the GUI. Control R, Control D, and record and process and who's it. And then here's this little checkbox I added. Dabbity boppity beep bop da. That's how you write code. Playing the keys. So now I think if I have done everything correctly, and I certainly haven't, then if I hit triangulate 3D data, it will take the Boolean that shows that this is checked, and after it has retriangulated the data, oh, look at all those words I wrote. Oh yeah, look, I have a tooltip on it. How nice of me. I even make a citation. Yeah, Philippe, if you are still here, this tooltip is actually kind of a partial answer to your question. And I even do a citation to when Yosinki Clune 2015, deep neural networks are easily fooled. Oh, daba. Oh, wait, hold on. Daba dee ba dee da daba da baba dee baba da. Is that the one? Daba dee baba da. Is that the one? I'm blue. Heck no. Da ba dee. There you go. I'm blue. Da ba dee. 1998. I would play it, but I'd probably get like a ding, like what's it called, like a copyrighted songs ding. Da ba dee. I support your silliness. I encourage your silliness, and you're always welcome to quote old techno songs around me. Okay, let's push the button and see what happens. If the unlikely event that things work, what will happen is a bunch of new things will start populating into this that will have names that I actually don't know, and a bunch of CSVs as well. So let's punch it. Triangulate data. Doink. Doesn't like it. I am not shocked. Oh. Session playback. Oh. That's fine. Apparently, I think this error is this. It's unhappy. The session playback thread worker is unhappy, probably because I restarted the. I should fix that. I restarted the GUI while that thread was running, yeah, that's interesting. It must not kill the threads when it restarts the GUI. I thought it would. I guess it might not. I should probably do that directly. That's all right. Yeah, yeah. Anyways, some bit of sloppiness. There's a fair amount of sloppiness. Sloppiness abounds. But yeah, so this is. Anyways, long story short, that was an error. That error is from previous tech debt. Not the tech debt I'm currently pouring into the code, but some other tech debt. We'll get there. But it's kind of known. Well, it's actually no, it's not known. Like this, it broke in the sloppy session playback visualization thing, but this error is actually to do with something to do with the way that I do the GUI restart. Not like it doesn't fully wipe the table. It seems it appears that the threads don't die when it restarts the GUI. I lack. There's also things are slower when they run from the GUI than in the pre-alpha, and I'm not quite sure why. Like it. Oh, see, it should be running at that speed, or it's like 10 to 20,000 items per second. But this one is topping out at like 3,000 to 4,000, except for when it blips up. Okay, yeah. See, there you go. Permission denied. Permission denied. This is the same error I had. This is the same error I had with the Blender GUI, the Blender stuff. When I tried to do it from a thread, it gave me a permission denied error. Because I think something's getting sad when you try to, permission was denied when it tried to load the data. And I think I ran into something similar where it hits an error. Somehow when it tries to load data when it's in a thread, it gets unhappy. It seems to be fine to save data, but not to load data. So let's do a quick incomplete refactor. We will still give it that pass so it knows where to save things. We're going to keep the names more commensurate. Doink. And we're also going to give it the data itself. Nope, not that data. This data. Data 3D. So this is a 3-dimensional NumPy array where the dimensions are, the first dimension is the number of frames. So if it's 1,000 frame recording, the first dimension will have 1,000 elements. Then the number of tracked points. So I think this one has like 568 tracked points because of so many based on the mesh base points. And then 3D is 3D data. And so I am going to just copy you over. C D D D D none and np dot nd array. Are we happy with that? We are not. And I guess we'll call it that. And we don't need to load anything. So now we don't need to load anything here, but we do need to change where it saves stuff because it's going to be using. It's actually going to be very similar to that. I think instead of this. Instead of this. Oh, you're expecting it. Oh. Okay. Doink, doink, doink. So. Okay, I can do path, Control V. So this is a little. It's so embarrassing to be writing such code in public because it's a little convoluted. So this is a path. It might be a path. It might be a string, because it's oh, is that right? Union. Was that where I had an error? No, it was a permission error. Permission denied. Yeah, I think it's fine. So I don't specify. This is me breaking the rule I just said 5 minutes ago, where I am. There is an option here where you can feed it either a string or a path, like a pathlib object, pathlib path object. And so I just sort of treat paths always kind of like being aware of both. So this bit of janky nonsense is taking that path, making sure that it's a path, and then using this locution to create a new path for where the file should be, and then converting that path back into a string so that NumPy's save function will work with it. Because I think NumPy is one of those that still, NumPy is a lot of new Python stuff can handle pathlib objects. But NumPy is still old school, and they want your paths to be strings. So you have to convert your pathlib objects into strings. And so I do that over and over again. A lot of places. This is, it's fine. It's probably fine. It'll bite me later, but that's a problem for future John. And that guy never knows what's coming to him. You'll never know what hit him. Okay, and I did all of that to make sure so that now this convert data to CSV, who's it, doesn't have to load any data. It just has to save data, because I think that will make it happier. Okay, calibrate capture volume, triangulate the data. Move it so we can see the actual output, because there's at some point I should like route a lot of these debug things to this console, or at least like have some sort of something, but it's fine. Right now we just watch the terminal. Triangulate. It's gonna take a second. Yeah, so it's going like 6,000 items per second, whereas like last time it was like 3. Gets it now going back down to 3. I don't know, man. We'll figure it out. See, now it's up. That's inconsistent. I should also add options to do things like skip the face data, because like in like the data files that get saved out, there are. So there's like a dot, like a 3D trajectory, for the body markers, the hand markers, and then the face mesh. And of the data, there's like 32 body dots. There's 32 body. I say markers, even though it's like markerless. It's just because I'm so used to talking about markers. So there's 32 body markers. There's 21 markers per hand, and there's 468 face mesh markers, which means that, what is that? What is that math? I can do that here, right? So 32 plus 21 plus 21 is 74. And then 74 over 468, no, the other way around. Over 74. Yeah, so like there is 6 times as much face mesh data as there is body and hand data. which means that like this would run like 7 times faster if I told it to skip the face data. So I should probably do that at some point. Oh, hey, look. It's actually kind of like a weird there's something that I find really satisfying about that weird asymmetry of like body to hands to face, in terms of like the amount of data that it takes to store like the state of the body versus the state of the hands versus the state of the face, because it really matches like the sensory motor homunculus. I wonder if I'm going to get like dinged for this. Sensory motor homunculus. This might like, because like if you look at the like in the motor, like sensory motor cortex, this is a little apocryphal. This is like a little bit like not the cutting edge science, but this is a level of science that anyone who's not like an expert in this field would think is true. If you look at look at our motor cortex, like our ability to control our movement, and you look at how much of that cortex, how much of like just of the real estate in the brain is devoted to like moving like your arm versus moving your hands, and moving your hand versus moving your face. There's huge magnification in terms of like fully half of the sensory motor cortex is devoted to like your hands and your face, and your body in contrast, like your elbow just doesn't have that much data involved in like its movement. And so people make these like fun, this might get me flagged, but like you get these this is like this is how your brain represents itself. I guess it's not close enough in to tell that like this is in fact a male homunculus, but this is like your sensory experience, like it's this like in terms of like how much of your neural real estate is devoted towards like the sensations from your hands and your face, and this is your motor homunculus in terms of your hands and your face. So like relatively little real estate is taken up by your body, and a ton of real estate is taken up by your hands and your face. So there's like a little bit of like, I have a little bit of like satisfaction as like a neuroscientist at like the asymmetry and the data representing the body, hands, and face. But also it's annoying to have to, it would also be 7 times faster if you could just check the box and say, don't bother with the face. But it seems to have worked. Yeah, see, look at that. What do you know? So this is the data. Oh, those are nans. Okay. Freaking me out. I was like, oh no, they're not the same length, but it's empty spaces where nans are. Nans standard for not a number. I mean, it's empty data. There's another branch where we're putting gap filling and filtering in. But look at all these numbers. Isn't that beautiful? And so basically, oh, look at that. Oh my goodness, stop that. So all these numbers are millimeters. Each row is a frame of the recording. And each column is, so you got the left hip, like, let's go over here to the nose, good old nose. So like nose X, nose Y, nose Z. And this is the data on the first frame, and then there's like 1,000, and I think it's like 1,076 data points in this recording, something like that. With gaps in the middle because I walk away from the camera. But yeah, sick. That was that worked. You want to save your data? No, I don't save. So there you go. Now it works, and it's just been a little over an hour. And now, oh, this is another piece of slop. Is that right? No, that's fine. I think if I were to do it again, anyways. Cool. So I'm gonna have to clean up. I'm like break up the main function, but it does do its job. So this workflow is actually pretty chill, where you can, me or a student or someone can like make a Jupyter notebook that sort of like, as long as it has like, you have like a small number of inputs at the top and then like a chunk of work, sort of like megascript style. Then this method of like convert it to a Py file, make it into a function, and then just like make then figure out how you want to implement it in the GUI, is a good way to go. And that's good because I really like coding like with students and like less experienced software developers, or people just have less experience with the topic, with the subject matter. It's really helpful to have people coding in Jupyter notebooks because you can be very explicit about, now I'm doing this step, now I'm doing that step, and then the workflow then is, once it's working, sort of like push, define the inputs to change your path at the top, click run all, and it does what you want it to do. Then you can sort of, there's a pretty quick turnaround to get that Jupyter notebook as a functional part of the main pipeline. And then it's just stylistic cleanup. So for me, because this is my code, I can just clean it up on my own. But like I said, there's another branch right now where the data gets gap filled and Butterworth filter and then aligned with gravity, that my grad student Aaron put together in that sort of like, let's just throw a bunch of stuff into a Jupyter notebook. And that is, it's functional, it does the job. And then we can iterate on the stylistic stuff of sort of like, hey, here's how, here's the code style we're trying to enforce with the alpha GUI. And it's a way to have the functionality of that code available, while still being able to iterate on have the workloads be modular. Because now Aaron is figuring out the architecture of the whole code and whole GUI, but he doesn't have to make progress on cleaning up that one little part, because it all just lives in one little encapsulated space. Because there's encapsulation of code, and then there's just encapsulation of like workflow and like mentorship, and it's kind of like if the price tag, if the onboarding of being able to contribute to the software is you have to understand the entirety of the software, it's too high a barrier. So this is a nice workflow to have like little encapsulated pieces that you can kind of dole out, and say like, okay, here you can be making progress on adding functionality, and then you can be learning the larger context as you're doing that. So sick. I'm just gonna convert that, and I'll say what's it called? I'm gonna call it live coding on Twitch. Add option to output data as CSV and chopped up NPY. And I'm gonna commit. I think it might fail if I do that, because I think it did fail, because it needs to run it through the black formatter, the black auto formatter, which it used to happen automatically, and somehow I broke that workflow. So now if I commit, it's like, hey, it failed, it's not formatted correctly, and then it formats it, and then I just do it again. So I did that commit, and now I'm doing this terminal, and get status. Da 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 da. Oh, this is. Let me do that twice. Huh? Yeah, great. Get push. Doesn't like it. Wants me to type this. Okay, I can type that. Okay. Okay. So that is push. That is. There we go. We're clean. And I gotta go. Well, I don't have to go, but I'm gonna go. Because that's the timing that I want. This is. I wanted to be done by 4. I am done by 4:30. I count that as a win. Anybody that wants to check out the code I just wrote is on. Oh, hey, one Limsky, you are right at the end. So thanks for showing up, but I gotta go. If anyone wants to check out the code I just wrote, it is on the GitHub repo under the branch John/convert to CSV. If you want to see the other one I mentioned, which is I think it's under John/post-process data or something like that. It's on a PR right now, so you can actually look at that too if you wanted to. Aaron is currently working on the code cleanup part of that. But yeah, I'll at some point in the near future, I'll go back and I'll convert the code. I'll change the code style to something that's more in the kind of like atomic, modular, encapsulated vibe, and then merge that into main, and then we'll have as a sort of core functionality, the data will now be output, both in the original like giant 3D NumPy array, as well as individual arrays for the body, hands, and both face, and also CSV, sort of pandas data frame style CSVs of the body, left hand, right hand, and face. Boom. What fun. Cool. Okay. Let's see. Is there anyone I can raid yet? Twitch. Dr. WED40. Oh, brother. I like Oh Bother. I'm gonna send y'all over him. Raid. How do I raid? I always forget. Raid slash. Raid. Where's the thing that tells me how to do this? Supposed to be a little bit pop up. Thank you. Slash raid. Thank you. That's what I was forgetting, the slash raid. Oh bother. Dr. WD40 is also cool, but oh bother and I have that's coding, baby. You know how to tell a computer to do what you want using typed letters. If that's not programming, then I don't know what is. Oh bother. Cool. Yeah. Dr. WD40 I do like. He is a part of this like fucking hats. Like I think called the Knowledge Fellowship, which is a bunch of like sort of like Twitch educator types. But oh bother, I like. I don't want to say I like more, but we've had nice interactions in the past, and I think it's sort of he's got a very similar like hacky tinker vibe. Oh yeah, and he's doing like this. Yeah, Dr. WD40 likes to do like he streams himself doing metal detecting. So he's a researcher of some kind. Let's see. Yeah, anatomy, physiology, genetics, immunology. But I think most of his streaming these days is just like he just does metal detecting on the beach, which I respect that. Oh bother, on the other hand, you better not show me another freaking ad. You motherfucker. I hate ads so much. I'll never show. I know you have to watch ads when you watch this. There's a way to. Yeah, we'll find. Also, Let me give a little shout out to Neon X Death. This is the music we're listening to. Is my brother Paul, Neon X Death, which is both good and non-copyright. Yeah, so he appears to be doing some kind of optical desk thing, and he's got a little thermal camera. Love it. Okay, I'm gonna throw you at him. Slash raid. Oh father. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll be back at some interval, probably later next week. Unknown, unplanned. I am chaos, and I appreciate you. Mwah. And then I act as if pushing that button would send you automatically, but in fact there's like a countdown timer. So now we're doing the thing where like we awkwardly walk in the same direction after saying goodbye. Okay, now goodbye. Mwah.